This might be a hot take, but GTA 6 being $80+ will not destroy the gaming industry. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today I want to talk about GTA 6 yet again. Now look, there's been this general idea that GTA 6 being $80+ would absolutely tear the gaming industry in half. That them raising the prices of standard edition games would absolutely just have a negative effect on the gaming industry. And while I don't disagree with that, completely, I don't think it's gonna be as bad as most people think it is. Now, before I continue, I want to just state my stance, right? I think GTA 6 is going to be $70, okay? Standard edition, $70, and whatever they do with other editions, yeah, that's up to them. I'm not pushing for GTA 6 to be more than $70 or for them to raise the prices or anything like that. This is just my thought. Now, look, it's definitely worth noting that Take-Two, the parent company of Rockstar who makes GTA, they were the ones to initially increase the price of standard edition games from 60 to 70. I believe they did it with 2K. And right after that, everyone followed. I believe Call of Duty followed the same year, and that's a major reason as to why people think them increasing the price from 70 to 80 or 70 to anything above 80 would have an absolute negative effect on the gaming industry. Again, I don't completely disagree with that, but this time around I do think it'd be a little bit different because since that initial price increase of $10 from 60 to 70, people have become a lot more careful and picky with how they spend their money on video games. You see this a lot, especially with games that maybe aren't too long, right? We look at Resident Evil Requiem, for example. You could finish that game 8 to 10 hours. Some people took longer. I finished it in like 10.5 hours. Plus the cutscenes and all that, you'll probably finish the game in like 14 hours, all depending on how you play, right? But that kind of led to people thinking this game shouldn't be worth $70. And while I don't think that's a great way of thinking, I do think part of why people think that is how much video games cost nowadays. Another recent example is 007, right? That game is yet to come out, but apparently that game's going to be around 20 hours. That's what the developers said, so I think we could take that with a grain of salt. They like to kind of stat pad, so I would say anywhere from like 15 to 17 hours. It all depends on how you play. So tell me, if these huge games like Resident Evil and, soon to be 007, if they can't even escape the idea of like, people not buying the games at least day one because, maybe their time isn't long enough for them to spend $70, then do you really think some other games are going to follow suit? And do you think the people are really going to follow suit? Perhaps I have too much faith in humanity, I don't know, but I like to think that nowadays people are a lot more smart and picky with their money. It's both a good thing and a bad thing because, like I said, games like Resident Evil and 007, well, we know Resident Evil was a great game, right? 007 most likely going to be a really good game. I don't think people should have had the mindset of like, oh, I'm paying 70 for this game, then I should get 70 hours. I don't think you should have the mindset when it comes to certain games or really just games in general. But I do believe it'll be mostly the bigger companies, the bigger titles that follow suit and would be fine. Titles like, I don't know, Call of Duty, the 2Ks and Maddens and, PGA, whatever, I don't know. Titles like Assassin's Creed and, the Ubisoft titles, the EA titles. The ones that can definitely get away with it. The ones that are big enough to get away with it. I mean, we had Mario Kart push it to $80 and I think 90 for physical editions. But the smaller titles, the games that maybe are new, right? New IPs, indie games, definitely they're not charging $70. I said Call of Duty, but even them, right? We see this year or last year that Black Ops 7 saw a decline in numbers. It could have been due to Battlefield, could have been due to the fact that the game was kind of just bad. The campaign was absolutely atrocious. Could have been due to a multitude of different things, but I do think it's something to look at. Nowadays, with the state of everything in the world, people are just overall so much more picky with the money that they spend. The Outer Worlds 2 is another example, right? I think it was Xbox that got them to put the price of the game at $80. I believe the studio didn't want to do that. This is just what I heard, but that did not go well for them. They put the price down back to 70 real quick, and apparently that game actually did not even do well, so just imagine if they did price it at 80 and keep it at 80. Also, the first Outer Worlds is pretty highly regarded. I think when it first came out, it was almost like a cyberpunk situation where, it was kind of buggy. I don't know if it was completely unplayable or not, but I don't think it launched in the best state. But as time went on, they fixed it, added updates and things like that, and it's a really good game. So it had a fan base, it had people supporting it, but the fact that they tried to make that game of all games $80 is just, people didn't let that fly. And then you look at Mario Kart, Nintendo, right? See how they're a titan in the gaming industry. Mario Kart, one of the biggest franchises in history. They they kept that game at $80. Physical editions, $90. I mean, shoot, they just put the Nintendo Switch 2 up $50. Those now is $500. The price of PS5 disc edition was at launch. And Nintendo also rarely ever decreases the prices of their games. They don't really have sales or anything like that. A company that can get away with stuff like that. So I guess this is just my long way of saying, if GTA 6 comes out and it ends up being, let's just say, $80, I highly doubt that anyone apart from like the titans in the gaming industry would be able to get away with it. Again, maybe I'm just an optimistic person, maybe too optimistic. I have too much faith in humanity, but I mean, this is just my thought. Like, I kind of believe this is the case. There's also the thought, right? If Grand Theft Auto 6, what seems like it's going to be the greatest piece of media ever, the most expensive piece of media ever, the most anticipated piece of media ever, that comes out and it's $80, are you going to tell me people aren't going to think for a second, okay, if this is the best game to have ever come out, to have ever existed, and it costs $80, why would I pay for a game that is anything less than that for $80? You get what I'm saying? I would hope a good amount of people would think like this. Even if GTA 6 comes out and is $70, people will really think, if this game is $70, why in the world am I paying $70 for anything less than this, essentially? Again, that comes with both good and bad, because not every game is similar to GTA 6 in structure. Not every game will be a million hours. You'll have a million things to do. Again, the example I just gave, Resident Evil Requiem, right? That game is not comparable to GTA 6 or a Grand Theft Auto game, but they would cost the same price or around the same price. But I think y'all get what I'm saying. This time around, I truly believe the people will not let this slide, okay? Maybe I'm just trying to speak it into existence, but that's just me. But let me know your thoughts in the comments on this. Again, I'm not like wishing for this to happen or anything like that. I would much prefer this game to just be $70, and that's what I believe. That's what I've been saying. Do you think GTA 6 will be $70, $80 or more? Honestly, I highly doubt. We live in a world where they're just gonna jump from $70 to like $100. I know $150 was a talk for a little bit for like no reason, I feel. And also, if it were to increase the price, do you think it would have like a huge negative effect on the gaming industry? Do you think people would actually follow along with this? Do you think the gaming industry, the people, you know, the consumers, us, do you think we would let that slide? And as always, if you enjoyed the video, like it up, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.